What we're doing here is we're addressing leadership at the post and the department level, and we'll probably include in that some national level leadership techniques and styles. It's not all a catch-all formula, but it's a situation where I'll give you some ideas, I guarantee it, and you'll give me some ideas. With that said, who was at the policy committee meeting last night where we had those two presenters? Quite a few people. What impressed me about not the general herself, but she asked the question, everybody that was World War II, raise your hand. It was only about 3 people raised their hand that I saw. Then she said, Vietnam veterans era, raise your hand. Looked like the majority of the room. Am I correct or incorrect? And I'm going to address that. Question, she never asked about Korea, Persian Gulf, and the other wars, too, that we had. And she should have, by the way. Starting off this way a little bit different than I originally anticipated, because you think about it, we're changing as an organization. Our leadership is gradually changing because of attrition. And I'm sorry to see the World War II veterans not participate or pass away, but we're changing. The Vietnam veterans are taking over. Korean War veterans are taking over, too, as best they can, but they're not large numbers. We're going to be making sure that everybody will take over in their progression if you're a good leader. Back up a second. I've led thousands of people in my life, both in the military, in combat, and not in combat. In my civilian capabilities, I've led hundreds of people, probably thousands of people, too. Just gives you a little credence to what my technique is in leadership. And I'm sure many of you have. Private industry as well as in public. Purpose of this briefing is to develop good leadership skills among different individuals in this room. Let's go to the next slide. Thank you, Norman. Thought it was appropriate to take a quote from Dwight Eisenhower. Leadership, the art of getting someone else to do something that you want done because he or she wants to do it. And we all know you can't do everything yourself. Let me add to this. Leadership does not start at the top. Leadership in our organization starts at the post level. The examples of proper and good leadership is really at the post level, and it's developed upward. I'm not saying leadership is not at the top, not at the department level, not at the council districts, but leadership and the new things that must be done and tested out, it's my opinion, and the research has shown it with the American Legion, Veterans of Foreign Wars, Jewish War veterans, is really at the post, and then the good ideas work their way up. Again, national assist us. Next one, please. Don't have a lot of time, so I broke down leadership into 4 different areas. Well, let me back up a second, too. I'm sorry. I'm a teacher, and I apologize if I use the technique of teaching sometimes where I'll say this is what you have to learn, this is what you should know, but then I'll give you an opportunity to respond back. Again, I have a very short period of time. I want to cover some things. In education, we break down components of anything into different aspects. This is mine. No research has been done on this other than a lot of articles read. Primary components of Jewish War veterans leadership is communications. I put communications number 1 on purpose, and I think the previous 2 sessions will document that's important. Education and training of the people we have working with us and under us. Succession planning. Everybody in this room that has a successor to your department, to your post, raise your hand. Good, thank you. But it's not everybody. You can't be in your position for every year for the next 20 years, for 5 years. You need a successor. And that successor, hopefully, it's somebody that's from the next generation. Continuous improvement. Our environment is constantly changing, obviously, so we need continuous improvement. Let's break down a couple areas really fast. Communications. We've addressed a lot of that in the department meeting as well as in the membership meeting. Various ways of communicating. Now, we hear the same thing every year when we attend these meetings, and I don't mean to be negative about that. Has anybody documented your success and passed it on to other people within the departments and posts? You attend a DCA. I know in New Jersey we have DCAs every 2 months. A lot of good successes at the post level, at the department level, at the national level. Is it passed on to their other echelons within the country? Communications is internal and external. We've addressed that somewhat in the past meeting too. Internal, within our members. Who here has a newsletter going out to your members? Who has a website that is updated constantly going out to your members, that they show it? Thank you. We don't want to leave anybody behind. World War II veterans are important to us. Those people that are not Vietnam veterans, between World War II and Vietnam, they're also extremely important to us. But a lot of them actually go to websites. They have email. If you don't have email within your department, within your post, you're doing a disservice to your members and those potential new members. External. A lot of Jewish organizations out there. We've addressed the newspapers from the Jewish organizations. JCCs have websites. There are thousands of Jews in the military. How do we get the word out to them? How do we get the word out to the non-Jews that might be supporting us as well as our programs? And then they'll get the word out to the Jews that were in the military that qualify, or maybe they'll be patron members, or what I like to call patriots, because I hate that word patron. I'm sorry about that. We should change it to patriots, frankly, in my opinion. Education. A leader does not just do their job, but they educate those that could follow as well as their peers. How many here actually have a individual they have under their wing, they're mentoring, and they're educating them, or individuals? Thank you. A few people. You can't stay in your position forever, even if you want to. Constant education. Succession planning, it leads back to educating somebody to take over. These new people coming on board, take them under your wing. Make them your successor. Of course, you have to train them. And I have somebody that's coming up in 2 years going to be department commander. He's fantastic, Afghanistan veteran. He's enthusiastic. But if I don't take him under my wing and train him, he's going to be fumbling around like I did when I first took the office of department commander. But I have people like Bob Richter, Norman, a whole bunch of other people to go to because I know they're here. He doesn't know when he's learning. Just an example. He will be good. And he does know. Well, he's from New Jersey, so he has to be good. Yeah, thank you, Norman. And, of course, continuous improvement. Next one, please. Okay, this gets back to what we were just talking about, but I wanted to break this down a little. Again, I will give you an opportunity to contribute, but I want to cover these areas. Who should be included in improving Jewish war veterans' leadership? Do your post or your departments have a board of trustees or something equivalent to it? That would be individuals, both internal to the post, the department, as well as those external, that have meetings, discuss improvements, what's happening in the future plan, a succession plan or a strategic plan. Raise your hand if you have a board of trustees or equivalent to it. Well, no, Alan, I'm not really talking about an executive. Executive board, at least in my definition from New Jersey, is basically the past department commanders. It's people past post commanders, and maybe a few other. You actually have an executive board with other people? That's great. That's
everybody, anyone who wants to be on the executive board, as opposed to the Sunday programs.
okay.
But people who really are interested and want to get involved and have input into what's going on, we meet every Wednesday night a month as the executive committee, and everybody's welcome.
That's good. That's what we need. Okay, if you don't have something like that, and you could also invite people from the ShopRite, the Giant, whatever your grocery store, whoever's going to be contributing, whoever wants to be involved, like Alan's saying, have them involved in that executive board. Or what I call board of trustees, because a lot of people in corporations they think that sounds great. Current membership, Department of Post, should be involved. No secrets. Membership numbers, everything else. And I'm not being negative to anybody. Open it up at your post, your department levels. Make sure they know what's going on, because that's the only way they contribute. Extended families. I mentioned in one of my objectives this year as department commander, and I'm using myself as an example, obviously, is to include the families within Jewish war veterans. We seem to have concentrated quite a bit, rightfully so, on the families of the people that have been killed in Afghanistan, Iraq, other veterans' families, active duty reserve, National Guard. We have to concentrate internally on our own people. That's how you get the socialization. That's how you get more people involved and future membership. Military community. Already mentioned that in the previous meeting. We need ads in those newspapers from all these bases, posts, etc. If you don't have them, you're doing something wrong. There's Jews out there. Bob mentioned some numbers. Maxwell mentioned some numbers. There's Jews in the military and those that have been in the military, and they read those newspapers. There's other ways. We have in our area the Voice, which gets out to the Jewish community if you pay $25 donation for something. Okay, but again, at the same time, in addition to the Voice, you go to the non-sectarian newspapers because maybe we're in the military, but they don't want to participate in the Jewish community. Jewish community already covered, non-Jewish areas. Now let's get back to the Jewish community. All that, thank you. There's a lot of sources of information, Jewish papers, temple papers, etc. A couple of the initiatives going on at some of the department levels in Maryland, New Jersey, Friends of the IDF, Israeli Embassy, Israeli Consulate. I hope we all support Israel. Israel's under a bad time right now. Those organizations SCORE, for example, in Bergen County, New Jersey, using that because we're actually working with them for jobs for vets coming back. Vets to Vets hotline. Jewish, non-Jewish, we're showing our presence. We're doing things that we should be doing. And we did during the Second World War, the Korean War, the Vietnam War. We need to carry these activities on. Of course, non-Jewish, a lot of those are non-Jewish, some are Jewish. Don't just restrict yourself to the internal Jewish papers. You have to go outside. Please, Norman. This might be a little controversial. One size does not fit all. Bob cannot be expected to come up with a membership plan that fits every post, every echelon we have in the Jewish War Veteran. There is no way that does not exist in leadership. You as a leader have to make a determination about what parts of a membership plan, outreach, leadership efforts you want to do. But I really strongly recommend put it in writing and make sure everybody knows about it. If they don't know about it, they can't help you, and designate people to help you out. Only parts of organizations will fit in that plan. If you're a department commander, make sure you sit down with those post commanders and maybe even the council commanders, whoever's active in the council. Make sure they know what your objectives are and work with them to establish their plans. And you see my statement down here, Jewish War Veterans made up of multiple echelons. Don't expect national to do it for you. And I've heard that repeated. It's not going to happen. You're a leader. You do it. Next one, please. Okay, and you always need a conclusion chart. I have some more things I want to add to this. Basically, what we're going to do, if you take this to heart, if you really want to do it, is you're going to come up with a mission statement. Look at the national mission statement. Take out of it what you need. Develop your own for your own echelon. You know how to reach me. If you don't, I have about 1,000 cards I'll give out. I got to get rid of it before my term's up in June, so I'll make sure I get it to you. Contact me. I'll help you out. Use your resources. Again, don't rely on any other echelon. If you have resources, and I know a lot of departments have money, resources are not only money, they're people, they're skills. What I'm trying to find out now within New Jersey, and I recommend everybody does, is specifically put in the newsletter, and it's going to be in our next newsletter, saying what position do you hold in the community that might be a president or vice president of leadership? That's a resource that taps into another resource. If they answer my question, I have people that are members of the Jewish War Veterans at the department level and below that are really high up there, mayors of townships, of cities rather, council members. Use their services. Summarize your accomplishments every 2 months, every 3 months, whatever you feel appropriate, advertise them. And determine what your future is. Flow it down from national's objectives, and Norman has a lot of objectives. That virtual post is really the thing we need for a lot of areas in the country. I hope you'll hear more about that. Tap into that virtual post. Tap into the resources you have at all levels within the Jewish War Veterans and outside. Next one, please. Okay, and I had to end with something, another leadership statement. Okay, this is from Harry Truman, which I think he was a great leader. He was laid back, and he let other people do their things until they did it wrong or not the way he wanted it. And then he responded, and there's a lot of examples of that. Individuals make history and not the other way around, not the leaders. In periods where there is no leadership, society stands still. Progress occurs when courageous, skillful leaders seize the opportunity to change things for the better.